My name is Daja, and I hope you find serenity.
I hope you find serenity. I hope you find serenity.
This video is a long time coming. I'm like, how do I begin to tell y'all what the fuck happened here on the farm? A snake came into the house. Not just any snake. A snake called a coral. I'm not sure if there's more to the name, but it is an extremely venomous snake. So about 3 weeks ago, I was actually sitting right here. This is my old bed, but I now use it like as a couch. I was sitting there, well actually I was laying there with Mantra. We were cuddling, I was petting him, and I was having a really beautiful moment with Mantra, my cat, because I got him when I was living in Madrid, Spain in 2018, and I carried him with me to Atlanta, and then I carried him to Costa Rica. So this man his passport is more stamped than some other people, this cat. And I was just thinking of how much we've been through together and how he's, met my family, and he even saw my life when it was in Spain. And I was just kind of in awe of that, because I forget that sometimes. He's been in Costa Rica the longest out of any place. And he's certainly a jungle boy now, but yeah, I was just thinking about that, and I was really just having a lovely moment with my son, my cat Mantra. And I looked down on the ground. On the ground, there was already this piece of black rope that was kind of in the shape of a snake that had been down there because it's something that my puppy plays with. And I looked and I saw the snake next to it, and I was like, oh, that's just the black rope. But then it started to move, and I was like, wait, that's a snake. And Mantra and me saw it at the same time. So he jumped down and got close to it, and I was like, Mantra, no. And Mantra has killed snakes before. I've never witnessed him kill a snake, but other people have. And but in that moment, my instinct was to keep him away from this snake, because the thing is, that's a common way that animals die around here. Animals die all the time from snake bites. And I was like, you're not about to die. I don't give a fuck. I'll handle the snake. I'm getting you out of here. And it's very hard because, cats are very independent. But I grabbed him, and he tried to get away, and I grabbed his tail, y'all. I didn't pull it, but I grabbed his tail, and then he stopped, because I was like, Mantra, please, wait a minute, stop. And I picked him up and I put him back on the couch, and then he stayed up there and he watched because he could see how serious I was. And I turned on my flashlight to see the snake better, and it was, all this time it's moving through the house. It's like this, it's not stagnant. And the colors of it just lit up. Bright red, orange, and black. So bright. Very beautiful snake. Very, very beautiful. But of course, I knew that it's colorful, then it's definitely very venomous. I actually think I saw the colors before I picked up Mantra. Because at first I was like, okay, Mantra, wait a second. Let me see what it looks like. And then I turned on the light. And when I saw the colors, that's when I grabbed Mantra and put him on the couch. And I put on my boots really quickly. Oh wait, no, I didn't put on my boots yet. As soon as I saw it and I saw the colors, I got Mantra, and then I got this stick because I was going to try to pick it up so I could potentially put it in a bag or get it outside or something. Because there's been one other time that I've had a snake in the house. It was months ago when I first started living here. It was brown, and it was really long and skinny, but it was very slow moving, so it scared me. But I got it with 2 sticks. I put it into a paper bag, and then I carried it out. But this snake, that particular time, that snake was really chill. It let me pick him up without doing anything weird. And when it was in the bag, it just curled up, so I felt safe. But this snake, when I tried to get it with the stick, it started slithering fast as fuck towards my feet. When I say fast as fuck, I mean, y'all, it was coming at me. And then, I jumped up on the other couch, on the bamboo one right there. And that's when I started to kind of get fucking freaked out. I was like, oh my God. This shit is moving. Luckily, Angel was out somewhere, probably eating out the damn compost. Thank God, because you know she'd be all in. She would be all in that snake's face. There's nothing keeping her away because she's so fucking nosy. So I'm so grateful she was not there. Everything worked out perfectly because, you know, I was with Mantra and then she was gone. So yeah, I jumped up. I was very scared. I had gotten my boots, so I think that also, like, me getting scared the snake, because it started going towards me, but then when I jumped up, then it started going another direction, also really fucking fast. Like, this shit was zooming across my house, y'all. Zoom. It was so quick, I didn't even see where it went next. So then I was walking around with my boots, but I was, like, you know, making big steps to, you know, scare it. And I finally found it in the corner. You know, around the corners of my house, I have these like cement blocks, and that's really for keeping shit out. It doesn't always work, but it's to keep shit out. But I don't have them in the front of the house. The front of the house is pretty open. So it was like, there was some that were like, and they're like not even cemented in. They're just like standing there. My shit ratchet. But anyway, some of them have a small enough crack between them that the snake could fit through there. So it was between the cracks, but it was like in a crevice where it could just stay and chill. Like, it was in there, and a part, it was too big to fit all the way, so a part of it was sticking out. That's how I knew where it was. And again, the snake was very pretty, y'all. Like, it was very pretty, but I was fucking terrified. Once it got into that crevice, I was like, okay, what do I do? Like, me moving it is no longer an option, because when I tried to get it with a stick, it went crazy. And I can't handle it. Like, the fear was unlike any fear I've ever had. I think this is the most scared I've ever been in my entire life. Like, I've never been more scared. And I've seen animals die from venomous snake bites. And I know of people who also died from venomous snake bites. And I was just more afraid of this. I was like, okay, the snake's in the corner now, but if I go to sleep and I'm not making noise for a long time, it's going to come back out. You know, like, there are frogs around. There's things that it would hunt in here. And also, my cat and puppy be up at night, you know, doing shit. So if Angel encountered her or Mantra encountered the snake, actually it was a male snake, they would more than likely get bit by this snake. And I'm up in the mountain, and I don't have a car or a bike or anything right now. Like, if something happens up here, like, there's not any hospital or anything like that close. The closest, like, emergency room is still like a 20-minute drive in a car away. And I don't have a car, so yeah. And then to get to a car, like, I first have to walk, you know, 30 minutes to the road. So it's just not an option. So that's why I was very much like, I can't let this snake hurt my animals. Like, I'm not ready to lose them. And I was very afraid. And I was also like, I also will be terrified to get out of my bed at night and like step down, because the snake is going to be around somewhere if I let it stay in this spot, because it's a spot where it was a good snake spot. Like, it could have made a home there. Like, it would have just chilled in there, but it would have definitely come out, of course, to hunt. And so I texted 4 neighbors, 3 that live right in this neighborhood, and 1 who is my friend Ben, who always helps me with my farm. Who he's still pretty close. He doesn't live far away. But I texted 4 people that are all Costa Rican people, because they know their shit. They all live in this area, you know, in the campo, in the mountain. And I was like, I sent them a picture of the snake, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? I can't even call my mama, y'all. I'm scared. Like, I was terrified. I was like, what do I do? Do you know what the snake is? They all are like, oh, that's a cordal. Okay, 1 person didn't text me back, but the other 3 were all like, that's a cordal. The guy who I bought the land from is one of the people I text, because of course he knows these lands. He still is my neighbor. And he was like, it did not help me to text these people. He was like, Daja, he just sent me an audio. Daja, that is one of the most, in Spanish, of course, like, that is one of the most venomous snakes in Costa Rica. It's mejor mátalo. Like, it's better to kill it. And everyone who texted me back, they all said the same thing. They were like, you're better off killing it, because it can kill you, it can kill the animals, and it's dangerous to like pick it up or whatever. They're like, they would kill it if it were in their house. And they've all had to kill snakes before. Like, it's a part of this life that I did not sign up for. So, Angel, leave him alone. She got slapped. Y'all might have seen it in the background. She deserved that shit because she be biting Mantra's ass. Anyways, yeah, it's amazing to tell this story now after I've like deeply processed my emotions around it, because I was really afraid to tell this story and I didn't tell many people in the beginning, and I still haven't told many people actually. Like, this video is my form of telling, you know, more people what the fuck just happened. But I was very, very emotional about it at the time. So yeah, all these people told me to kill it, you know, with a machete, and I was terrified at that moment. Like, I was like, I won't say hyperventilating, I was actually deeply breathing because I was afraid. I've never killed anything before, and like, I'm the type, like, I used to be afraid to like set a mouse trap. Back when I lived in the States, we had a mouse in the house. I was like, that's too much, and I was scared. And my mom, like, my mom was scared too. She had to like call the landlord to deal with it because we just were too scared to kill a mouse. Like, and this was a whole snake. So yeah, I walked around, I prayed. I called on my ancestors. I was like, please bring me clarity. Like, I don't know what to do, and I'm so afraid to kill this snake. I'm literally scared. Like, this is the scariest thing I've ever encountered. But every part of me was like, if I don't kill it, it's gonna get one of us. Like, that was what I kept hearing. I was like, you know, it's either the snake's life or one of our lives. And I was like, bro, I'm gonna have to kill this snake. And yeah, it took a long time for me to like work up the energy that it takes to like make this strike. And I wanted it to be a one and done strike with the machete too. So I wanted it to just be swift. And so I got the snake with the machete, and I didn't feel anything. Like, it didn't even jolt or anything like I thought it would. It just was immediately done. And like the moment before I hit it, I called on the strength of my ancestors. I was like, I need y'all's help, because for real, like, I don't even, like, you know, my hand was shaking. I was like, I don't know if I can do it. And then it was just so swift and easy. And then I put the machete down and I walked back to where I was originally sitting, and I sat and I sobbed crying for like 15 minutes straight. I was uncontrollably sobbing, and it was like all the fear I was feeling had to leave my body, and it was a lot of fear. Like, I was like, and when I say sobbing, I mean wailing. I mean, certainly people, like, I don't really have close neighbors, but if I did, like, they would all hear me type of cry, like really letting out a lot of sound, so many tears. Like, I hadn't cried like that. I may have never cried like that, and I'd be crying, y'all. But that was like one of my deepest cries, if not my deepest cry ever. It was so, and it was uncontrollable. Like, the tears were just like rain. They wouldn't stop. And I felt sadness, and I felt, you know, alone. I felt like a little girl. And I felt very alone, and I didn't want to be alone. I was like, I didn't want to have to even deal with that. I just want to be protected. And it was a very vulnerable moment. Like, I was like, this is really scary. Like, I never want to have to kill anything ever again. It was the worst thing ever. Yeah, it was really sad. And at the end of the cry, I also, you know, I sent love to the snake, because I was like, yo, your life has value too. But bro, you can't be up in here. Period. You cannot be in here. And you was wild and running across the floor and shit. I was like, you cannot be in here. Like, it just ain't gonna work. You're a stranger in my home. And I took this snake's life. And I felt, you know, after my cry, you know, I'm like, it's actually very poetic. It's like a movie, because, you know, I live in this very, you know, scenic place, and I just, you know, everything is open. So I walked out the door right here, and, you know, it was nighttime, and I just stood right here under the sky, you know, under the stars and stuff, and I just prayed some more. And I prayed to the snake, and I sent it my love, and I said I didn't know what else to do. And I felt an overwhelming, it's okay, coming from the energy of the snake. I felt the snake's energy, like, rising. And everything felt okay. I didn't feel bad about the decision. I felt sad that I had to be the one to kill it, that it had to happen at all. But I felt this relief as well, that when I went to sleep, like, the snake was gone. You know, I didn't have to, like, the fear was able to really fully be released, because I was like, it's gone now. Like, what are the fucking chances of it happening again now? I pray that's my only, Lord, if you hear me, let that be the only time in this lifetime. I done did it, all right? I've killed a venomous snake. Please let it be the one and only time. I don't need more experiences of that. Thank you. Yeah, it was very frightening, and intense, but it was deep. I mean, it allowed space for me to get out a cry that maybe needed to happen. And it allowed space for me to just have a very, very deep fucking experience for my lifetime. I have a snake tattoo as well. Like, I have this tattoo on the back of my neck with like a snake going up, like the Kundalini rising. I have a lot of love and respect for the animal. But yeah, I killed a snake. And so like I said, I text 4 people. So I had 3 people told me to kill the snake. And then my 4th neighbor, who was the first one I actually text, because she lives 2 doors down, and she's a tour guide, and she knows a lot about all the snakes and the animals here in general. So she was the first person I texted, but when she didn't respond for a few minutes, that's when I texted other people. But she finally responded and was telling me to, like, try to get it out of the house with a stick. And at this point, you know, I had already killed the snake. So I told her what happened, and she got really angry with me. And she is like, I protect animals, and like, I would never do that, and I can't believe you did that, and I wish I didn't know. Like, it seemed like she was just like really ashamed and really not happy that I killed this snake. And it really hurt my feelings, because I mean, I could understand where she came from too, but I was like, she had no idea what I had just been through. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I did what I thought was best in the moment. I got advice, I prayed on it, and I made a decision. And it was not a fun decision to make at all. But I felt bad, and I felt really sad, because she's also my friend. And, you know, it feels bad when, like, your friends, like, kind of shame you. And it's also weird because she also eats meat. So I'm like, and I'm not anti-eating meat. I'm actually starting to transition back into eating meat after years of being vegetarian and vegan. But yeah, it's just like, I don't understand how she's so angry about me killing this snake that could have, like, you know, killed one of us. But she eats meat, so she participates in the death of animals. And now we're going to get a little bit into this topic with the death of animals. Like, everything dies, you know? So I think that our twisted view of death has made us, like, so extreme. Like, life is what's good and death is what's bad, you know? So extreme with that duality, when that's really just not the truth. Like, death is a part of life. Every single living thing will die. Every single physical thing will eventually even die. Like, that's a part of this cyclical nature of the earth. And then all death creates new life. So animals are going to die whether we're eating them or not, first of all. And when we're consuming them, if we're consuming them, we can just honor this body that they have given. And everything else about them, and everything goes back to the earth. Even if you eat it, that's going to go right through you. You're going to shit it out, and it's going to go right back to the earth. It's all organic matter, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I'm not with the way they mistreat animals that they consume, but luckily I live in the fucking jungle. Like, you can get meat here from somebody, like, and you know the cow personally, like, and it's only got killed because it got too old or it got hurt and had to be put down. And they live a beautiful, healthy, happy life in the mountains. The land I'm on right now was cow field. And they also make great mushrooms. But yeah, so I'm not anti-meat anymore. I was once very, very anti that. And I'm definitely still, like, against the way that they be harvesting meat. Like, in places like the United States and other countries where they create slaughterhouses, and I will not, be eating that meat. That's real. But anyways, I'm just saying, like, animals die, I didn't go out looking for a snake to hunt and kill. Like, this man came in my house, started wilding, and everything else told me that the right decision was to kill the snake, and I first tried to take him out of the house. That was what I first tried. But when I say this man, I've never had a snake come at me before. Like, yeah. So anyways, one of the other people who I texted was the guy who sold me the land. His wife as well was talking to me, and she was like, you need to kill it immediately. And later was sharing that her sister died from this snake when they were younger. I forget how old she said her sister was, but it was a similar situation. They lived in an area not far from here, up in the mountain like I do. And her sister got bit by one of these snakes, a coral snake. And they said they just, same way, they didn't have any transportation. They didn't have a way to get to her to a doctor, and it was nighttime. And she bled out from her eyes and from her ears. And I didn't even know this part until after I killed the snake and everything. She told me this story. Like, what the fuck? Y'all need to know this. A lot of people ask me, like, on TikTok, on my videos, like, are there snakes? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. If you want to live in the jungle, there are snakes. And sometimes you got to make decisions. Like I said, I dealt with a snake one other time. I took it deep out into the forest. Went yeet with this bag. Like, I took the bottom of the bag and I went yeet, threw that snake out. But that snake was chill. This snake came at my feet, God. Like, the shit was slithering fast as fuck. I've never, ever, ever in my life seen anything like it. And I was terrified. And yeah, I still have to know what people think, It's been a deep process. So, like, after that experience where my neighbor was mad at me, I felt a lot of shame, I was afraid when I walked past her house, like, I wasn't even looking her way because I was like, she's mad at me. And since then, she has spoken to me and she was being nice. She didn't bring it up again. So I'm like, I think she's over it and we're still friends. But I felt a lot of shame. There's a lot of friends who I didn't tell because I know that they're also the type that really, like, care about the animals. And I'm like, honestly, I don't really want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that I shouldn't have done it at this point because I already did it. Like, it's already done. And it was really scary. And I just the other day told 2 friends this story, and that's what inspired me to finally make the video. And they were both like, oh my God, like, as soon as I told them, like, one of them gave me a high five, one of them gave me a hug. They were like, you did it. Like, you are, like, you're in your wild woman and your indigenous self. Like, you handled that shit. And I was like, wow, that's makes me feel so much better because it was really scary. And I did ultimately feel better even after killing it because, again, like, then I could walk around my house and know that this snake wasn't there anymore, Like, if I had left it or even if I had taken it outside, I'm like, it could easily get back here. And, yeah, just one less snake. And not even one less snake because somewhere there are fucking snakes being born right in this very moment. Life is always replenishing itself. I'm not going and mass murdering snakes, bro. I killed this one snake this one time, and I pray it's the only time in my life I have to face that. But I talked to my neighbors about it afterwards, of course, because they checked in on me afterwards. Like, my next door neighbor is one of the people who I texted as well. And she said she done killed a few torciopelos, which is the other most dangerous snake here. It's bigger than the coral. But yeah, she was like, it's been like 3 times that they've had one at their house, and she's had to kill them motherfuckers. Like, and then this other lady, her mom was there. She's telling me about a time she had to kill a snake. And then their friend is there. He's telling me about a time he had to kill a snake. Like, it's like this thing within Costa Rica. Like, sometimes venomous snakes get into people's homes and most of them choose to kill them. But the neighbor who was mad at me, she also shared with me that the what are they called? The firefighters, the bomberos, will come to your house if you have a venomous snake or any kind of wild animal in your home, and they'll get it out, which I didn't know. And I do usually have at least enough service to send a text. I don't really have enough service for a call up here because it's kind of like I'll get a bar and then it goes away. And then I walk into this corner and I get a bar and then it goes away. It's not like a consistent stream. So, and I know one of the bomberos personally, and I'm like, okay, thank you for that. Because in the future, I will definitely call a firefighter and be like, bring your ass, take this nigga somewhere. He can't be up in here. But yeah, ultimately it all worked out because I was just thinking, like, if that snake had come into the house any other time, there's so many times when I'm not home, so many times when I'm sleeping, and the animals are, like, right here at the door, you know? Like, but it happened in a moment where I was right there, like, in the way, like, everything. And then the very next day, my friend Lee, he came by, and this happened all around, like, 6:45, 7 p.m., which is, like, really dark, because Costa Rica gets dark at, like, 5 p.m. But the very next day, at the same exact time of night, my friend Lee came by. I can't remember. He was dropping something off. I think he was dropping off some water. And I was thinking, oh my God, like if that whole, and I didn't even tell him the story at the time because I wasn't ready to talk about it. I was still super deep in my emotions. But I was like, if the snake had come in right now, the story would be different because Lee is right here. You know, and he was sitting in a chair right by where I found, like, I originally saw the snake. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, if this had just happened 24 hours later, there would have been someone else here to potentially handle it instead of me. And I was like, it was really meant to be. Like, it was meant to be that moment. Like, sometimes I'm in the back behind this curtain, you know, in my bed. But this particular day, I was right here. And, wow. I'm scared to tell my mama because I know I'm trying to convince her to come here. She gonna be like, I ain't never coming down. Like, I haven't even told my sisters. I'm gonna send them this video, and I'm like, bro, like, I just didn't even feel like talking about it to a lot of people because I was so sensitive about it. I was still like in my process, like knowing that in a way that it was like, you know, maybe bad to have hurt this animal, but at the same time being glad that it's gone. Yeah. And not really wanting to feel other people's feelings about it, just wanting to process my own feelings about it. But yeah, like, I guess it was yesterday I told my, or maybe the other day, I told my 2 friends about it and I felt a lot better and I felt a lot more ready. I was like, you know, I need to share about this on YouTube because the people need to know. Y'all trying to come to the jungle, you need to get a machete. Get a machete. You're going to probably have to use that shit. Not always for this, you know, I mostly use the machete for cutting, you know, bush. But either way, it's a very good tool to have. I sleep with the machete by my bed just in case. Just in case. There's still a small amount of fear in me sometimes because I live alone. You know, I'm a woman. But luckily I haven't had to use it for violence except for this one time. And it wasn't even violent. It was so gentle, y'all. Like, it was one swift whew, and the snake didn't even jolt. It was just rest, release. I could feel its spirit. The next day I was really emotional. I still was borrowing a friend's bike at the time. I biked all the way to town. It takes an hour because I needed, you know, to clear my head. Like, I still didn't even want to be. I had made a post on Instagram right after this, actually, about not wanting to be seen. And I, like, had this whole depressive episode. And, yeah, a lot of it was inspired by that experience, like thinking about death, like thinking about the fact that I killed this snake. And I'm like, what if I just left it alone and I didn't kill it? Well, then, and maybe it killed me. And would that still be perfect? You know, like, I was really thinking about that. I was also thinking about, like, if I got bit by a snake and I was here, like, nobody would know for a long time. You know, like, I didn't have any plans for any visits. And my friends don't always come up here. Every now and then they do. But typically, like, on purpose, you know, not as much like randomly. And like, the neighbors pass and they never come in. So I was like, if I was in here and I was hurt and I couldn't speak or something and I couldn't get out, like, I would just die right here in this house because I'm alone and the animals, they can't do nothing. They would probably just be sad. And I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about death a lot. And I was like, I'm glad it's the snake and not me. But also, if it had to be me, then it had to be me. This time it had to be the snake. But our life, both of our lives have value. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot to confess to y'all and to share so candidly. But here it is. I always gotta give you the real. I just woke up. You know, y'all know I just woke up when I got the bonnet on. I'm sitting here at my new table. Isn't it beautiful? All right. Go easy on me in the comments. Actually, share your heart, you know, share what you think, what you feel when hearing this story. And we can talk about it. I'm ready and willing and open, no matter what the perspective is. Peace.
Hope you find serenity.